Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is July. A prophetic view is something really big coming. Something really big. Something really big coming? So let's talk about it. First of all, this is it's the same point. It's a different article, but it's still saying the same thing as other articles have said. It says Trump and Netanyahu's two-state vision. Gaza wars end. It's important, okay? Try to grasp what's going on here. Gaza's wars end. Did you catch that? Okay, so this has been going on like over 600 days since October 7th. This is an Israeli newspaper. Gaza's wars end. Abraham Accords expansion. Now, look what the subheadline says. They reached consensus on these fundamental principles in general terms. Gaza hostilities to conclude within 2 weeks. I read another article yesterday said the same thing. So it's two different Israeli newspapers saying this. Abraham Accords expansion to include Syria, Saudi Arabia, and, here it is, a two-state solution with limited Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. What did that just say? We're talking about a Palestinian state. Two-state solution, that's what it's saying. It's saying that Israel is going to give the Palestinians some land. Now, I want us to back up just a minute. And I'm going to tell you something else. So I looked through all your emails. Thank you very much. I looked through all of my news sources, and I could not find anything to talk on. I kept praying, Lord, what do you want to say? It's your ministry, your program to build your kingdom. What do you want to say? And I even started to go out and ask Leslie, hey, you got anything? I did call my son. You got anything? And so I just kept praying and finally laid on my heart, this is what's happening. I think that is a calm before the storm. So I'm going to try to point out an overall picture that probably only a prophecy student would see and help you to understand that I think we are on the precipice of some really, really big things happening. Some of them could be really, really good, and that's the problem. Some of them also could be really, really bad. So I'm going to bring a prophetic overview. Okay, so first of all, and I didn't want to put this just where you see one line at a time. Let's talk about it. Matter of fact, that. We're going to talk about several things. This is an overview. Back up, not a bug's eye view, a bird's eye view. Let's back up and look at what's happening. Okay, so July the 4th, 2025, Trump plans to sign the big, beautiful bill. And by now you've heard it's passed both House and Senate. It's going back to the House, and House Senator or the House Leader Johnson says it's going to pass. Not a problem. Okay, so the big, beautiful bill is signed July the 4th or thereabouts. Keep that in mind. Also, we got to ask ourselves a question. Is that timing an accident or an on purpose? Is there a plan? Meaning, is there some other things that Trump has planned? Remember, this plan started back in 1963. When JFK was assassinated, the military intelligence knew who did it. This is the scuttlebutt on the internet. And they got tired of this cabal, this evil group of people, small group of people, think that they can just kill people and run the whole world without question. So the military intelligence decided it was time to put a stop to it. And so they've been working on this since 1963, and the plan was to bring in a person to take the presidency of the United States, and through that, bring massive arrests and clean this cabal out of especially America, but around the world. So my first question I want you to think about, this big, beautiful bill, This sets a lot of things in place that a Trump or a king would need in place for him to do the next things he wants to do, things like massive arrests. Okay? If you look at it through what the newspapers is hearing or telling you, or if you just look at it through the carnal, the flesh view, you might not see it. But if you back up and understand that the whole objective, Jesus coming and allowing himself to be nailed to that cross, shedding his blood, was for one thing: to allow people to enter into eternity that would have never been there. His objective is to fill his kingdom with as many people as will possibly get their eyes open and be able to see it. Now, the DOJ has criminally charged 325 defendants, including 96 doctors, with all kinds of fraud. Is that the starting of the massive arrests? It could be. On to the next point. Trump threatens to name a new Federal Reserve chairman replacing Powell because he wants lower rates. Is that because he's wanting lower rates, or is that because he's about to totally do away with the Federal Reserve, period, and the IRS, and the Constitution, and our flag, and the name of our nation? Could it be that this all happens on July the 4th, our Independence Day? Israeli-Iran war ceasefire, but yet they're still firing. Okay, well, but is that part of it? I think it's another thing. In other words, look at the events that are all coming to a head. Okay, so we see the Israeli-Iran war. We see the big, beautiful bill. I want you to look at all of the things that are kind of coming to a conclusion, like right now. In other words, I think that this is part of the reason we're seeing a calm before the storm. I wish God would tell me the answers to all my questions. I'd come and tell you. But sometimes what we have to do is, as prophecy students, is back up and look at it, not from a bug's eye view, but from a bird's eye view. Back up and look and say, now, what's actually happening? Where are we really going here? And that's what I'm trying to get us to do today. Abraham Accords. Okay, do you understand that the Abraham Accords, the whole point, the bottom line, is to get a Muslim country to accept Israel, meaning Israel's right to exist, meaning getting Muslims to accept the Jews. Basically, that's what it is. So when you hear Abraham Accords, that's what it's really all about. Now, Trump started it, but as I read yesterday in yesterday's program, there's apparently a big push in the next 2 weeks. Something up in the next 2 weeks. Big stuff. And they're saying that it may be that there's about to be a Palestinian state in the next 2 weeks. I just read that there. That one, that's it. But another one I read yesterday said another one. Let's go on. All right, now let's back up. Let's also look at Syria, Lebanon, Yemen. Israelis' enemies are now, for the most part, and if you can include Iran in that, are all put down, sort of. Yemen fired some more rockets at Israel. But the point is, there's a lot of things in process of coming to a conclusion right now. The big, beautiful bill. That's what I'm trying to get you to look at. Back up and look at what's happening. Now, let's go on to the next one. All right, then the Trump tariffs. Okay, so Trump comes along a couple of months ago, gives people more time, gives people more time. Some like it, some don't like it. He's made an agreement with, but what has he said? He said they have to all be in place by January 9th. Accident or on purpose? What I'm trying to point out is there's a lot of things coming to a conclusion right now. Okay, so then we just had, on June 14th, the No King protests, some 1,800 cities, and Trump, I saw him on TV and also on his Truth Social website, so it's both written and verbalized. He called them insurrectionists. And then, of course, there was some 700 Marines in Los Angeles. And Trump called out the National Guard. And then we also had tanks rolling down the streets in D.C. Then there's the reports of something big having to do with Israel, Gaza in the next 2 weeks. Several reports. Something big. That's what they keep saying. Something big. Israel, Gaza in the next 2 weeks. Then BRICS reportedly has a meeting July the 6th and 7th. And they are saying that they are going to introduce the new BRICS currency. Keep that. See, if you forget part of this, then you might not see what I'm trying to get you to see. You got to try to remember several things, and a lot of things are coming to an end like right now. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. BRICS all of a sudden comes out with a new currency, and Trump is upset with the Federal Reserve Chairman, says he's going to replace him. He's been saying no more tax on tips, no more tax on overtime, no more tax on Social Security. How about no more tax? How about no more IRS? How about no more Constitution? How about a king? I know. We Americans, that's a bad taste in our mouth. But Henry Groover, one of the most reliable men of God I've ever met, was shown a vision of Trump as a king. He don't miss. Let's go on. Russia continues to gobble up Ukraine. Could it be that that is about to come to a conclusion in July too? In other words, all of a sudden there's a period of peace. What does the Bible say about peace? For when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Then Trump floated reopening Alcatraz. Was he just floating that? Or is he planning on taking a steam cleaner in there, removing all the rust, putting a little bit of grease on some of the locks, and filling it up with a bunch of people he's about to arrest? Then we have today, Trump went down to Florida and visited what they're calling the alligator Alcatraz. What's he doing? Can you back up and see it? Can you see that he may be playing and planning and plotting massive arrests? Can you see a bigger point of view? And as a matter of fact, I may even back up and just pop through these again. Today, alligator Alcatraz. They call it an ICE detention center, but the massive arrest is not about massive arrests for the illegal immigrants. He's talking about massive arrests for congressmen, bankers, businessmen, evil people. Let's go on. Is it time for, that's my question, what is going to cause the celebrations in the streets? I'm about to read what I think is probably one of the most important dreams that puts a lot of things in order. One of the things it says he saw celebrations in the streets. Now, did we see celebrations in the streets with the Trump election when he got elected? No. Right, happy? No, there was no celebration. Did we see it with the inauguration? No. What about the BBB passing, the big beautiful bill? My guess is at the passing, no. What about the signing? Because this bill means no more tax on tips, no more, and of course they've done a little bit of changing there. Tax on tips, tax on overtime, and I guess they removed the tax on Social Security. No tax on Social Security, because I haven't heard them say that again. But is all of this leading up to massive arrests? Maybe. Is this all leading up to the release of the new financial system? Trump announcing a new nation? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things like we've never seen in our lifetime. All of a sudden, we're in the state of so much change. Now, we're happy with some of the changes, but are we going to be happy with all of the changes? Could it be that massive arrests is about to happen? Okay, hang on, let's more. All right. Has Trump sent home the National Guard? Because I haven't heard whether he did or not. It may still be out there. Has he sent home the tanks from D.C. that were there June 14th? Because I don't know. Is he about to announce the IRS and all income tax abolished because the all capital United States of America and the Constitution of we the people is all gone? And he's the king? Because some people think that's what it would take to clean up this nation, and then the plan hopefully would be, and then once it's cleaned up, you see, because we have so many safeguards in place that you can't go and arrest a lot of people. You can't arrest 500,000 people. You can't put them in military arrest and a military tribunal and execute them. You can't do some things that really needs to be done to clean this nation. All I'm saying is I want you to back up. I want you to look at it, what's going on in a different point of view. So we have peace in Israel, Gaza in the next 2 weeks, so it says. A Palestinian state. Trump is calling for Gaza to become a Middle East Riviera, which I think is a pretty good idea. I just don't want America to split Israel, and then God turn around and split America where the Great Lakes open up all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. I don't want to see that. All right, now, this was a whole headline, a whole program I did a couple of days before June 14th. You can go watch the program. I think it's a very good program. Which, by the way, thank you for your compliments. I've been getting a lot of emails saying, great program, Stan, thank you. June 14th, I said, could the LA protests provide the cause for the massive arrest to begin? Because that you could call them insurrectionists. Why is that important? Because the Constitution says that you have to have insurrectionists, people that, and the president has to declare an emergency over it. Then he can sign the Insurrection Act of 1807, which gives him the authority to use the military against American civilians. That's what it would take to have the massive arrest, some 500,000 people rounded up. Now, let me go to another thing. Now, I've covered this dream a few times, but I want you to notice some things today. In this dream, the first thing that happened is the money changed. Do you know how many articles I've got that says that banks are closing? I mean, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase. I mean, we're not talking hundreds. We're talking thousands of branches have been closed over the last 18 months. Do they know something? I think they do. I think they know this is coming. They want to stop it, which is why they tried to kill Trump at least twice. Some say 14 times. But they couldn't do it. Number two, Trump could be coming in as a new president or a king. Now, you did notice that Donald Trump did not actually put his hand on the Bible when he swore allegiance. Some say it was an accident. Some say it was on purpose because he actually wants to put his hand on the Bible to swear allegiance to the new Republic of the United States. Now, when we say king, I doubt that they'll actually call him a king. But it may be that he has the kingly authority. In other words, the authority to use the military to round up the bad guys and girls and bring justice to them that our wonderful constitutional republic can't bring because they got too many protections. Right to remain silent, right to insurance, all that sort of stuff. People were not celebrating in the streets January 20th. Is that still yet to come? Massive arrests, bank presidents in handcuffs, suitcase nukes. I think that Massey's right. He said that he saw once the new financial system came in, it was 6 months later before he was saying you need to be out of the financial system within 6 months. We take that to be Suitcase Nukes. Now, I'm running out of time, so let me get to the dream. Covered this a couple of times. This is back in 2021. Jason Meeks. He's ordained as a prophet through Leslie. He's been through Leslie's School of the Prophets called Train the Prophets or traintheprophets.com. You can also watch her on YouTube at traintheprophets.com or Train the Prophets. The dream starts out, we stopped at an ATM machine to get some cash out for the toll road. I put in my card, got $20 out, ended the transaction, but before I pulled off, I realized I needed more cash. So I put my card back in, got another $20, but the fee on the receipt was $42. Just after the ATM, which was usually $1 or $2, the transactions were within seconds of each other, meaning there was a banking change. Do you remember how many people have seen the banks, the money? I mean, Coverstone saw the money coming out of the banks. There's so many prophecies about the banks and the dollar falling and everything. Let's go on, though. As we drove home, we stopped at a major bank, and the television screens were showing massive arrests. Okay, got that? So the bank changes, there's massive arrests. Could it be the big, beautiful bill was what Trump was waiting on to start all of this? I don't know. Let's watch, okay? The television screens were showing massive arrests. The alert went out on my cell phone that DJT was assuming control as the new president. It didn't say king, but Henry Groover was shown king. But he wasn't told exactly king. He was shown he had kingly powers. I expected people would be rioting and looting, but people were happy, celebrating in the streets. That's the point. We have not seen celebrating in the streets. Could it be that the big, beautiful bill gets passed and then the roundups start? Would massive arrests get people celebrating? I think it would. I think they would celebrate that more than Trump getting elected or Trump getting inaugurated. In the dream, a man came up to me, I can't even talk today, came up to me and started crying, saying how all of his evil bosses had been arrested and rounded up, telling me he was now in charge of the bank. He was a Christian and had been praying for this for years. Do you remember Neville Johnson, a prophet out of Australia, was shown that an angel came to him and got a man by the leg and lifted him upside down and started shaking him up and down, and all kinds of gold and silver started falling out of his pockets, and also cures the pharmaceutical companies had, but they'd refused to release them, cures for cancer, cures for diabetes, and things like that. Did you know that yesterday JFK was interviewed on Tucker Carlson, and he came out and he basically explained what has been going on with some of the dastardly deeds within our pharmaceutical companies and within our government that's supposed to be protecting us from these people. And he's basically saying, yeah, I mean, I don't have freedom of speech. I can't say what I wanted to say, or they'd take me off again. Go check it out. Maybe that's why I should say it. Telling him he was now in charge of the bank. He was a Christian, had been praying for this for years. As people took to the streets in victory celebration, we've never seen that. But I think massive arrests, I can see massive arrests, especially if we get a new banking system that goes around the Federal Reserve, goes around the IRS. What if all of a sudden Trump says there is no more IRS? There is no more income tax. There's not just no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. There's no tax. Okay? Would that get victory in the streets? I think so. Victory celebration, we jumped in on the back of the fire truck to catch a ride in the parade because the streets were so full you could not walk. Everything was amazing. Then I heard a huge explosion. A suitcase nuke had been detonated within the city. I didn't see the explosion, but I saw the shockwave from it. And remember, Benjamin Fulford was told, we've ruled this planet for thousands of years and we'll destroy it rather than give it up. Now, you can read that if you want to. Here's my point. June 14th, it looked like these things would come. To me, it looked like it, but they didn't. But now, July the 4th, could it be we're about to see a change in banking? Massive arrests, rejoicing in the streets, bankers arrested? I don't think the suitcase nukes, I hope the suitcase nukes aren't coming yet. But the point is, 2025 just may be the year of Trump's return against the massive attacks. New financial system, massive arrest, celebration of the streets, suitcase nukes. Shane Warren, dollar falling. I'm glad we haven't seen that yet. New Madrid earthquake. Could it be that all of this stuff is about to take place? All of this stuff is about to happen. Hello, I'm Stan.
And I'm Leslie Johnson.
And we want to invite you to the PhD, the Prophecy, Healing, and Deliverance Conference.
So I hope you'll come from September the 11th through the 14th.
We have 6 seasoned ministers, 10 sessions, 2.5 days. I'm going to be speaking on Mark of the Beast, dangers of AI, and the new timing of the rapture.
And I'm going to speak on how to get ahead spiritually, close those spiritual doors, and the role of the prophet.
Lou and Sunhee Deliverance Ministries are going to be speaking on healing childhood experiences, what is eating at you, spirit of infirmity, and yes, they will be doing deliverances.
Yes. And then Pastor Kate and Jonathan will be speaking on relationships.
It's limited to 100 registrations, so go to prophecyclub.com, get signed up, or
traintheprophets.com. We hope to see you there.
If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper. And as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. In 2021, I started making bread. And long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat in the morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon, or always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out. josephskitchen.com.